Welcome to renovating number 5. This week I'll show you how I made the cushions for the platform lounge. We're using high density foam. It's a little more expensive than regular foam, but at our age we need all the comfort we can get. The guy in the shop was really good and cut all the foam to the correct size. Well, all but one. I think we were talking to him too much, but it gives us an opportunity to show you how easy it is to cut. Using a tape measure, mark the size, then using a straight edge, draw a clear line with a Sharpie pen. Before cutting, make sure the foam is slightly hanging over the table so it doesn't get in the way when you cut. We used a bread knife, but you could use an electric carving knife, which is a much better idea. Make sure you hold the knife straight, otherwise you will cut your foam at an angle. We use the edge of the table as our guide. If you use an electric knife, then you will get a cleaner finish, but don't worry if there's slight marks on the foam, the dacron will cover this up. Dacron or wadding, depending on where you reside, smooths out any imperfections, but more importantly, the hard straight edges. If you look at your sofa or chair, you will notice they don't have straight square edges, but are rounded and soft. Well, this is because of the dacron filler. It also adds a little more comfort, but not a great deal. Because we bought high density foam and don't plan to flip the cushion, we only cover one side of the foam. But if you're planning on using cheap foam, then I would probably cover both sides so you can flip the cushion to stop wear marks. Using the foam as your template, to cut the dacron to the right size. Because I want a smoother look, I'm doubling up my dacron. The material is stretchy, so be careful not to pull it out of shape when cutting. Using a permanent foam adhesive, spray the foam and the dacron and leave for a few minutes before sticking together. Along the edge was a bit of a pain because I doubled the material up, so I sat the foam on its edge to dry whilst I made the cover. I'm a little bit old school and always like to make paper patterns. It's a lot easier to make changes if things don't fit or if you have to start again. To make the pattern, all I did was taped sheets of newspaper together, then I drew around the foam pad, making sure there was at least 2 cm overhang for the sewing line. With the material on a flat surface, pin the pattern into place. I cut the 2 pads first, then cut the 2 side gussets and finished with the 2 end gussets. The reason for this was just to make the most of the width of the material. I like to use pinking shears when I'm sewing, especially woven cloth, because it If unfinished, the material will fray easily. Although the serrated pattern doesn't prevent fraying, but it will limit the length of the frayed thread, so minimises the damage. Another way to stop frayed edges is to sew a couple of stitches just before the frayed edge. This is where having an overlocker comes in handy. This machine is 35 years old, so it doesn't have one. So I either use zigzag, or there's a setting where it does multiple stitches close together. You could also change your stitch length to make it really short. With pieces of material face side up, pin and sew one of the side gussets to one of the face pads. Then pin and sew the other face pad to the other side of the same gusset. So you should have two face pads with a side gusset in between. The other side gusset is going to be for the zip. On a flat surface, fold and pin and cut the material in half. Along the long edge, mark where the center of the material is. Find the center of the zip and pin it to the mark on your material. Then mark one end of both pieces of material, the start line of the zip. Place the zip upside down on the edge of the piece of the material that's face side up and pin and sew into place. Make sure to keep the foot of the sewing machine as close to the teeth of the zip as possible. Repeat with the other side of the material. Swap the sewing foot for a zipper foot. With the material face side up, lay a section of the material in on itself towards the teeth of the zip. Then fold over at the zip, making sure the material is taut. You don't want it gathering and baggy. Then sew along the edge. Try and keep your stitch as straight as possible, as this will be visible. Put the material on the seat pad and check the size and shape. It's a lot easier to make adjustments here rather than waiting till you finish the product. Mine is a little bigger than I want, so I need to trim the edges before I attach the zip. because my zipper is shorter than my side gusset, I need to sew the two ends together to make it neat, but also so the zipper doesn't come apart or fall off the end when you open and close the zip. If you wanted to, you could use a zip that's the same size, or I would suggest a bit longer than your side gusset. Then you wouldn't need to do this process. Anyway, if you choose to have a shorter zip like me, when you sew the two bits of material together, you need to sew slightly past the end of the zip to stop the zipper coming off the end. A few stitches going over the top will also help. I did this bit by hand. Now for the last process, the end gusset. Make sure all the material is inside out before attaching the last two pieces of material. Pin the long sides first before doing the ends to stop it becoming misshapen. Now for the fun part, putting the cover on the pad. Remember to turn the material the correct way in and push out all the corners. With the foam pad on its edge with the front side pointing up, start by putting one end on first, then laying the material over the edge before wrestling the other end in place. Now this is where having a longer zip would come in handy. Repeat the whole process again for the back cushion, and voila, the chair is now finished. Next week we'll be back to our usual renovating videos, but if you're enjoying the change, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share.